So one problem we've got here is that our LED is always on now, and actually only turning off the Raspberry Pi would turn off that LED, or unless we coded it to do something different. Now, I notice this is all getting a bit clearer. If you ever want to clear things out, which to be honest there's not really much reason to, you can just type clear and hit enter, and it gets us a nice clean terminal again. Now, to be able to turn off our GPIO pins and also stop the error messages we get, if I go and run sudo python led.py once more, we always get this error saying the channel, i.e. pin 11, is already in use. And it's right, we left that pin on last time we ran it, and now we're telling it to turn on again, which is fine, that won't do any damage. However, it's not great to leave GPIO pins on when we don't want them to be on. So what we can add to our bottom for program is we can add GPIO.cleanup. This will turn any of the pins that we've turned true, will turn them back to false, i.e. it will turn them off. And that will stop our error messages. Noting that our asterisk here next to our file name tells us this isn't saved up to date, so we just need to go File, Save. And now if we go and run our program again, it says, well, yes, we never turned them off previously, but after running it this time, it ran GPIO.cleanup, which turned them all back to off. So we run it one more time, you'll see we won't get the error message anymore. It just ran, and we don't actually see anything for it. Even worse, if we have a look at our LED when I run it, we'll see that nothing happens there either. So why didn't we see our LED turn on at all? Well, quite simply, it's because all our program does is set up our library for GPIO, gets the board numbers all set up and ready for us. It then tells us that we want to set GPIO pin 11 to be an output, sends 3.3 volts through that pin, and then lastly it tells it to turn everything back off again. Now this all happens within a millionth of a second, and for that reason it turns on but immediately turns itself off, to the point where the human eye would never notice that the electricity had been sent through. For this reason, it might be sensible if we had a little delay before clearing up, so at least we could see that the LED turned on for a set amount of time. To do this, we're going to use a new library. So we're going to go back up to the top, which is always where we set our libraries in place. And the library we're going to use now is called time. And this time library has a built-in function called sleep. And all that does is it puts a little delay. So what I'd like to happen is the GPIO output will set pin 11 to true, so it'll send 3.3 volts through. Now let's have a little wait here. So I'm just going to say time, which is the library we're using, and we're going to want to use a function in that library called sleep, so time.sleep. And in brackets, the only parameter we give it is actually just saying how long we'd like it to sleep for. Now this is in seconds, so I'm just going to say 3 seconds. And we'll save this because our asterisk tells us this isn't saved up to date. Come back into here and we'll try running this and see what happens with our LED. So we're now going to try and see whether we can make our LED flash. Now one way to do this, not ideal, would be just to now we've told our LED to turn on, we could then tell it to immediately afterwards turn off. So bearing in mind this top half here is all about setting up our GPIO pins. We just leave a slightly bigger space. This bit just turns it on and waits 3 seconds. So we could take this bit of code, copy it. I'm using keyboard shortcuts to do this. Control-C or Command-C to copy, and paste it underneath. Now, as you can see then, we turn on our code, GPIO.output 11 true, so we turn pin 11 on. Then we wait 3 seconds. Now we turn pin 11 on again. Well, actually I'd like to turn it off. So I'm just going to change true to be false. And then we'll wait 3 seconds. and this will work absolutely fine, but we could go even further. We say, well, let's repeat that. So it turns on, waits for 3 seconds, turns off, wait 3 seconds, turns on, wait for 3 seconds, turns off, wait 3 seconds. So I'm going to Control C to copy that, drop a couple of lines, and paste in again. And so we turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. So we're going to save our code so it's up to date, using Control S to speed myself up. And we can try running that now and see what happens. So I'm going to come back into the terminal, sudo python led.py, and we'll hit enter and see whether it does flash.